Killer Bunny, Battle Against the Mighty Killer Bunny, Adventure Stories for Kids, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Two farmers face a dilemma. The chickens are being killed, but not eaten. Is there a monster in the vicinity? Is this some sick joke? They go looking for solutions while finding out more about the rumors of the region. When they find what it is, they are determined to eliminate the threat, but they quickly discover that they underestimated the predator they were after. Listen to more about this thrilling adventure about two friends and several fierce monsters. Chapter 1. Chickens. It wasn't pretty. The mess was all over the chicken pen. Chickens were torn in half and feathers were everywhere. The chickens that were still alive walked around it as if nothing had happened. They completely ignored the victims in the middle of the pen. Flynn took his hat off and walked over to Jack. Jack looked at him and felt his pain. "Very unfortunate," Jack said. "I hope we'll be able to find out what caused this." "I hope so too," Flynn agreed. "I don't think any predators have been spotted around the village. It's a mystery. What kind of animal would rip chickens in half like that and not eat them?" "I don't know, man. But one thing I do know, this is messed up." "Well, yeah. I've never seen anything like this. I'll go get the gloves and start cleaning it up, I guess." Flynn walked away and Jack went after him. "I will help you," he said. "We'll have this solved in no time. Don't worry." They cleaned up the dead chickens and went back into the house. Flynn offered Jack some tea and a cookie. Jack observed the silverware and the china on the shelves next to him. He complimented Flynn on his house, saying that it was homey and comfortable. "You really worked hard to make this place cozy and welcoming, didn't you?" Jack asked. "I started from scratch, Jack," Flynn said. "I value everything I have, but especially my animals. And if something or someone is disturbing their peace, it bothers me, and not just for financial reasons." "I understand," Jack said, while taking a sip from his tea. "What kind of tea is this anyway? I love it." "It's peppermint tea," Flynn said. "I grow the leaves in my backyard. It's great. It gives you that little spike while calming the mind with its heat." "That's deep, man," Jack said. "You're a thinker. I don't think that much. And something is telling me that you worry too much as well. Am I right?" "Yes, you are. I hate it, but it keeps me going," Flynn said. They talked some more, and Jack finished his tea. He left the house and walked home. He wasn't worried at all, unlike Flynn. According to Jack, the chickens were probably just killed by some wolf or ocelot that had broken in. "Good old Flynn," he said as he came home and kissed his wife. "What happened this time?" she asked. "He is devastated over a few chickens," Jack said. "But I am sure we'll catch the predator soon. It must be a bear or a fox or something, or maybe an ocelot or a wolf. Who knows? But then again, who cares? We've had attacks from those animals before, and we took care of them." "Yes, we did. No problem." "Exactly." That night, Jack was sleeping. His wife was up. She hated it when her husband snored. She tried to cover her ears with her pillow, but it wasn't effective enough. Jack was loud, and there was nothing she could do about it. She sat there all frustrated, wondering if she should just poke him or slap him and tell him to shut up. But she was too nice. She wouldn't do that to him. But then she heard even louder noises from outside. "Finally," she thought, "I have an excuse to wake my husband up." She leaned over and shook him a little. "Jack, Jack," she said, "I heard something outside." What is it?" Jack mumbled. "I heard a strange sound. Could you please check what is going on?" "Oh, okay, sure," Jack said. He got up and put on some clothes, and then he went outside. Now he heard it too. The chickens were panicking. He grabbed a machete from the shed and ran towards the chicken coops. The moon was shining brightly, so that he didn't have to take anything to light his way. When he arrived at the chicken coops, he couldn't believe what he saw. "Oh no," he sighed. He buried his head in his hands and stared at the mess. Almost the same mess as his friend had encountered. Several chickens were ripped apart, and at least 5 more had been slightly hurt, but enough that it was lethal. 10 chickens had been killed. As he stepped into the blood running from the carcasses, he got disgusted and a little nauseous by seeing this horrific slaughter. But the danger was gone. Whatever or whoever did it had left. Jack looked around, but despite the moonlight, he couldn't see anything or anyone that looked suspicious. "Is that all you've got?" he yelled. "Come and show yourself, stupid animal!" It was dead silent. So after a while, Jack went back and reported the terrible news. The predator had struck again. Chapter 2. Scene. The next morning, half the village came to watch Jack's poor dead chickens. Flynn showed up and saw a big crowd standing around in Jack's yard. They were looking at the body parts that were scattered across the chicken coops. Jack had gathered everyone to take a look and analyze the crime. The discussion had just begun when Flynn arrived. "Does anyone have an idea who or what may have done this?" Jack asked. "Well, I can tell you one thing," a young man says. "This ain't no ocelot nor a wolf. They don't attack unless they eat what they kill." "If it isn't a regular predator, as you were saying, then what is it?" Jack asked. "What if someone in the village did it just to get people angry?" a woman suggested. "That could be true," Jack said. "But I can't think of anyone who would do such a thing." Flynn was listening intently, since his chickens had become the victims of this heinous crime 2 nights ago. The people came up with ideas, suggestions, and even some accusations, but none of them understood the nature of the crime, nor the motive anyone or any animal could have to just kill chickens and then leave them there. Everyone was shocked, and after some more pointless arguments, they all became quiet. Suddenly, a voice from the back of the crowd broke the silence. "I've been telling you," it said. "I've been telling you for years." Everyone stepped aside and turned to the man who claimed to know more. He was wearing a hoodie and was leaning on a cane, and although his face was somewhat hidden beneath the hoodie, his eyes were piercing and intense. "What have you been telling us?" a woman wanted to know. "I told you about the killer bunnies," he said, "but nobody listened, and now it's struck again." Everyone looked at each other for a second, and when the pause was over, they all burst out laughing. Some were cracking up so badly that they almost fell over. "A killer bunny?" someone asked. "Bunnies don't kill, old man. They eat carrots and lettuce. Have you ever seen this so-called a killer bunny?" "I've seen it," the old man confirms. "But I wouldn't try to find it if I were you. It's dangerous." The crowd scolded him. It sounded like a ridiculous concept. Predator rabbits were unheard of, but the man insisted that he knew what he saw. "Mark my words," the old man warned. "It won't be the last time it will kill. It will be back." "Then we'll just kill it," Flynn said. "Where do we find it?" "Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you," the old man said. "You cannot fight this monster. Its teeth and claws are sharp, and it has a bloodlust you are not familiar with. My best advice? Stay inside and put better fences around your animals. Perhaps even set some traps. But I doubt the killer bunny will be stupid enough to step into them." "Thanks," Flynn said, a little disappointed that he couldn't get more information out of him. Chapter 3. Face to Face. Flynn returned home. He knew everyone was laughing at the old man with the hoodie, but for some reason, he believed him. What an absurd idea! A killer bunny? Who had ever heard of such a thing? But what if the man was right? What if it was true? He couldn't think of any other carnivore that would murder his and his friends' chickens this way. A killer bunny? Really? He poured himself a cup of tea again and sat there thinking about what to do. "Those are my chickens," he said in a low voice. "I have to protect them." That night, Flynn lay down right outside the chicken pen. His axe was next to him, so he could easily grab it if he had to. The sun was setting and it was almost dark. Crickets were chirping, the wind blew, and an eerie fog came over the farmlands. But Flynn was ready. "Let come what may," he said. He waited and waited. The moonlight lit up some of the ground, yet Flynn stayed in the shade, unseen from any trespassers that could come that night. The waiting made him tired. He yawned and rubbed his eyes. He got comfortable and lay back with his head leaning sideways. He fell asleep. The hours went by and nothing happened. Nothing for hours and hours. Suddenly, Flynn heard a sound. It was a chicken. He reached for his axe and ran towards the pen, but he was too late. One of the chickens was dead, slashed through by some predator. Flynn's heart started beating faster. He knew the predator was still around. He looked to the right and to the left. He ran into the field despite the misty air and scanned the horizon. There! In the distance, there were two glimmering eyes looking straight at him. Flynn ran towards the creature and stopped. In front of him was a white rabbit with red glowing eyes. Its facial expression was wild and vicious. Its claws were long and sharp, and the bunny was showing its teeth and growling a little. "Whoa," Flynn said. He had never seen anything like it before. He stared at it, and it stared back. Then Flynn ran at the bunny with his axe, but as soon as the bunny saw him coming, it hopped into the bushes. Flynn kept looking. "Come back, you coward! Afraid of an axe!" he yelled. But there was nothing else he could do. Flynn looked a little longer and then gave up. The killer bunny was gone. Chapter 4. Wind. When Flynn went to Jack the next day, his friend could hardly believe it. "So the old man was right then?" Jack asked. "Yes, he was. I saw it with my own eyes." "Wow! Who would have thought that those things existed? Anyway, what are we going to do now?" "Kill it, of course," Flynn said. "I agree, but how?" "I don't know. Just bring a weapon and enough supplies for our trip. The old man wouldn't tell me where to find the bunny, but maybe he can give us a general direction." "Sure, but how do we find the old man?" Jack asked. "You don't have to. He found you," a voice said. They turned around and saw the man with the cane. A little surprised that he would show up like this, out of the blue, they asked him where to look for the killer bunny. "Don't say I didn't warn you," he said. "I am certain you will die if you go look for it, but if you want, I can still tell you where I think it hides." "That would be very helpful," Flynn said. "I've heard that they live at the foot of the mountains. That way," the man said, pointing in a certain direction. "They?" Flynn asked. "What do you mean? Are there more than one?" "Oh, I don't know that," the old man said. "Perhaps not, but I can't guarantee that there is only one. Who knows how many of those monsters there are?" "Okay, thanks," Flynn said. "Come on, Jack. Let's get going. We will find the killer bunnies and make them regret what they did." Jack followed Flynn to his home. They got as much gear together as they could carry, but they still tried to keep their bags light. Jack brought a net to drag the bunny back when they would catch it, and he put some food in his backpack as well. Flynn packed a bow and arrows, matches, and his axe. They took off, walking through the forest into the mountain areas. At first, everything seemed peachy. There was no danger, there were no wild animals, and a path led them to the foot of the biggest mountain in the area.
"What did it look like?" Jack asked after a while. "You gotta look at the killer bunny, right? What did it look like?"
"White with red eyes," Flynn answered. "It was as if the devil himself had taken possession of that bunny's body. When it looked at me, it was as if it was looking right through me with those hollow red eyes that glowed in the dark. Creepy, I tell you."
"The more reason to get rid of it," Jack said. "I don't want such evil things around my house, even if they don't kill any chickens."
"It shouldn't be too far," Flynn assumed. "The old man said the rabbit went into the mountains. Sure, that may be so, but I don't think it went too far away, only to make a long trip to the farms each time."
"I think you're right," Jack said. "We must keep our eyes open. Its home could be anywhere near here."
They kept walking, and the wind became stronger. Some branches were already flying by, and the soft breeze turned into heavy gusts of wind, pulling bushes out of the ground and making the environment unsafe. A storm was coming, and it wasn't going to be fun. "This is just going to get worse," Flynn said. "Do you see the clouds? We have to find some shelter."
"Well, we're almost at the foot of the mountain," Jack said. "Maybe there is a spot or a cave where we can hide. Some rocks, some ledge, or something else. What do you think?"
"I think that's an excellent idea. Let's keep moving." The two of them headed into the direction of the mountain and found a cave in the mountain. It took them a while to find it, but with the strong wind, they figured they had no time to lose, so they hurried and went inside as fast as they could. There they were, sitting and watching the storm do all kinds of things to the trees, the bushes, and the sand at the bottom. The two friends weren't certain if they could call this a hurricane, but it sure came close to it. They had never seen a wind as strong as this, and Jack said that if he didn't know any better, he would have seen it as a bad omen.
"Shall we go inside the cave?" Jack asked after a few minutes.
"Let's just hide behind this rock," Flynn suggested. "There is only a small chance something will blow our way, and the cave is pitch black."
"Then just light a match and make a torch," Jack said.
"I would rather wait until the storm is gone," Flynn said. "The wind could blow out the fire."
"I guess so."
They waited and waited. It took a few hours, and the farmers ate a little snack. Just for fun, Jack told some jokes he had heard from his kids, who had heard them from friends at school. The storm was almost over. Soon, they would go inside the cave. Chapter 5. Bunnies don't do this.
"Now, can we light a torch and go inside the cave? I am super curious," Jack said.
"Of course," Flynn said. He took the matches out of his pocket and used some dry branches to light a torch. When he was done, he held the torch up and handed it to Jack. Flynn put the matches back and took his bow and arrows. "You never know what's in this cave," he said. "Go ahead and light the way. I'll be ready if there is a bear or a cougar or something in this cave." They snuck farther and farther into the unfamiliar cave. They felt the rocky ground underneath their feet. Sometimes they looked at each other, and Jack moved the torch around a lot. He was a little nervous. Suddenly, he stepped on something.
"What is that?" he asked.
He moved the torch to the ground. It was a pig skeleton.
"Whoa!"
Jack said as he stepped back. When he held the torch in front of him at a low level, he saw that this was only the tip of the iceberg. Flynn's and Jack's mouths fell open when they saw a big pile of animal bones and skulls scattered all over the cave. There were horse skulls, bones from wolves, and cat cadavers. "There must be hundreds of them," Flynn said. "Have you ever seen such a thing?"
"Never," Jack said. "This is shocking. Bunnies don't do this. What prompted these cute, fluffy animals to become massive murder machines? It's a massacre! Look at all these skeletons!
There is only one thing that could have made them this way, Flynn said. It's pure evil, that's what it is.
Let's get out of here, Jack said. I don't feel comfortable staying here. I am glad we found their hideout, but I am a little reluctant to fight this bunny after seeing this.
You still think it's only one killer bunny? Flynn asked.
There must be more of them. This is insane, Jack exclaimed.
They moved back to the entrance of the cave, hoping to get out of there alive. But when they exited the cave, they stood face to face with something terrifying. Chapter 6. Killer Bunnies. The two farmers couldn't believe their eyes. It was like they were waiting for them, waiting to destroy. In front of the duo were about 20 bunnies, all with glowing red eyes, sharp claws, and grinding teeth. Their appearance was sloppy and wild. The malicious look in their eyes was both chilling and disturbing at the same time. Bloodthirst was apparent in their demeanor, and they were ready to attack. But none of them were white. They were all brown, black, and gray. These are not the ones I saw, Flynn said while leaning over to his friend.
What do you mean?
I mean that I saw a white bunny, remember? There must be another one.
Oh, come on, Jack said. You must have seen it wrong. It was dark, it was foggy. You said so yourself.
I know what I saw. There is another one.
Well, I don't see it now, Jack said. So let's just focus on these, shall we?
You got it, Flynn said, as he put an arrow on his bow and stretched it back. Jack took the axe and was ready for battle as well. There they were, standing face to face with more than a dozen killer bunnies who were drooling and gnashing their teeth, anticipating to devour some flesh. Come on, Flynn suddenly yelled. Come on if you dare! He shot an arrow and killed one of the brutal bunnies. The other bunnies didn't hesitate and hopped towards the two farmers. Flynn kept stepping back and shooting more arrows, and Jack swung the axe he was holding at the monstrous rabbits.
Take that, and that, and that,
he said every time he killed another bunny. Some of the bunnies came too close and scratched the two heroes, causing them to bleed. They tried to ignore their wounds and finish the predators off. Hacking and slashing, shooting and kicking, the two managed to kill the majority of the bunnies. There were only 3 left. Duck, Flynn said. Jack ducked and evaded Flynn's arrow that way. After that, Jack swung back his axe and made it land in the other 2 bunnies.
That was that, Jack said. We're done here.
Don't be so quick to celebrate, Flynn said. I told you there was another one. But where is it? They looked around for a minute.
There!
Jack suddenly shouted. Chapter 7. Bunny for Dinner. Jack was pointing at the white bunny, which jumped from one of the rocks that was part of the mountain. Before it landed on the ground next to Flynn, it scratched him with its claws. Ouch, Flynn said, dropping his bow and arrow.
Flynn, Jack yelled. Stupid bunny, you're going to pay for that.
Go get him, Jack, his partner shouted. He was wounded, but he was okay, only bleeding a little from his shoulder. Jack held his axe in front of him. The white killer bunny was bigger than the other ones. It looked at Jack, aware of the weapon he was holding. Then it jumped at him, trying to cut him open with its claws. Jack ducked again, but this time he came up with the idea of doing so himself. He watched the bunny jump over him and swung his axe at him. Tsak! It hit the bunny, which died instantly. Jack had killed the killer bunny. That's disgusting, Flynn said when he looked at the dead bunny on the ground.
Yes, but it's dead, Jack said.
Indeed it is, Flynn said. Well, what now?
Have you forgotten why I took the net? Jack asked.
Oh yeah, why did you take that net anyway?
In contrast to the bunny's bloodlust, I don't mind eating the victims I kill, Jack said.
Ha ha ha, good one. You're going to eat these bunnies? What if they have some evil force in them that made them the way they are?
I'm willing to take that risk. You?
Flynn thought for a moment. Although he had no idea why these bunnies had become so wicked and ferocious, he wasn't superstitious enough to think that there was an actual evil force in them, so he shrugged and said, "Sure, let's get them into the net. We'll cook them at home." They gathered all the bunny corpses and put them into the net. After they were done, they headed home. "Hey, Jack," Flynn said, "do you know any rabbit recipes?"
I am sure my wife will know some, he said. We haven't had rabbit for dinner in years. By the way, I heard it goes well with peppermint leaves, so you should be fine. The question is, who is going to take the big white one home? That one has the most meat on it, doesn't it?
Ha ha, Flynn laughed. You can have it.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
The end. This has been Killer Bunny, Battle Against the Mighty Killer Bunny, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.